Hello, Internet friends. This is Danielle Pierce, creator of Property Preservation Mastery and, of course, founder of Real Estate Profit Lab. I'm a 14-year full-time real estate entrepreneur. Primary area of expertise is property preservation. I am a national property preservation expert. Howsoever, that's not what we're talking about today. We realized that we needed a transition program, if you will, to those folks who are not able or just not quite sure about starting a full-fledged business. So we decided to launch a new product, and it's called Side Hustle Heavy. It's a great way for folks who are looking to create an extra four-figure income stream every single month, consistently recession proof, to help pay bills, start a business, buy tax lien properties, whatever the case may be. So as always, come in, say hi, let me know where you're watching from. If you're brand new to the channel, welcome. If you're a returning subscriber, welcome back. In today's earrings, I just want to show y'all real quick. I am wearing Nina Simone. My lovely bonus daughter made them. Her company is called Noe's Naturals, and I thought that this would be an excellent video to display these wonderful handmade earrings. So shout out to you, Noe, if you're watching. All right, so moving on. We talked about Side Hustle Heavy. You can find out more information about that at sidehustleheavy.com. Again, a great way for those who are looking to create recession-proof four-figure income streams. There's over 30 plus legitimate side hustles, many of which I've used personally in order to get over the hump in the first few years in my career as an entrepreneur. So this is year 14 for me. All right, so let's get into this headline, or this topic rather. Paying your rent at 16 years old. So y'all remember back in the 90s when everybody and their mama was moving to Atlanta, shout out to the A, to create a better life. And so that's what we did. Myself, my three brothers, my oldest sister, and my mom got in a car. She had a 85 Buick. No, a Caprice, I think. Was it the Caprice or the Buick? I think it was, I'm pretty sure it was a Buick. Four-door, body style, real common, in the hood, so to speak. And so we drove that down to Atlanta to create a better life. Um, we ended up, funny enough, in the projects of Atlanta because we didn't know the area. My mother didn't know the area. And it was just, I don't know if she just upped and moved to Atlanta, if she just like had a bad day at work. My mom was a CNA, and she worked at this place in LaGrange, Illinois, which is a pretty far drive from where we lived in Chicago Heights, specifically Beacon Hill. So she would leave, and I want to say her drive to work was at least an hour each way, if not more. It might have been an hour and a half. So she worked a lot, and she would work sometimes double shifts and stay out there because the drive back and forth was just too much. And plus, my mom had a habit of always falling asleep at the wheel because she was always tired. And so she did, she was gone a lot. So I don't know if she had a bad day at the job. A lot of her patients were really racist. I remember going up there as a kid, and they just would talk crazy to you. There's a viral video right now where a lady is like spitting on her caregiver. I don't know if my mother ever got spat on. If she did, she didn't say it to us, but I know that she had some rough days. But whatever happened, we upped, got in the car, and drove to Atlanta and ended up in Hernan Homes Projects, which was right next to the Coca-Cola building, 440 North Avenue in downtown Atlanta. I don't know if those projects are still there. I'm guessing probably not. Atlanta's super hot right now. But that's where we ended up for a few months because, again, we didn't know who we were doing. And it wasn't the projects like a Chicago project. It was just, kind of hood. So we ended up there. I get my first job at Burger King, right, also on North Avenue, right down the street. I was 16 years old when I got that job, and probably making like $7 an hour maybe. I went to my first and last Freaknik. So I think 96 was the last year officially. So I went to that. That definitely was an experience, not for YouTube, not for Facebook, not for Instagram, right? That's from back in the day before, everything was real common to be recorded on camera phones and cell phones or whatever. My dad had died sometime right before we moved to Atlanta. And my mother was she started to get Social Security. And so she finally was able to kind of stack enough money to get a better apartment and get us out of the projects of Atlanta. Because obviously, if you go into Atlanta to create a better life, you don't want to start out in the projects. So we were able to get a better apartment. This apartment was in East Point, right? Club Candlewood, was the name. And then the next one was Ascot Glen. I think they're both still around. I think East Point has kind of took a turn for the worse, like many communities do, unfortunately. But that's where we ended up. And it was, for us, it was like the best place we'd ever lived in. Really nice, really quiet, really comfortable. Everybody had enough space for the first time. It was like, wow, maybe this plan actually did work out. So my mom was getting Social Security and she was working. She stopped being a CNA and she was working in furniture sales at the time. So all was well, right? Temporarily. I, of course, in true nerd fashion, as I've always been, got my very first internship by reading this program. I forget the name of it. I applied for it, was accepted, and as part of the, all the recipients received a paid internship for 6 weeks at a Fortune 100 company in downtown Atlanta to build your resume. Honey, I thought I was about to, on my way to climbing this corporate ladder. Do y'all hear me? Like, I was like, I'm about to do it. This is it. This is my chance. So I worked at Georgia Pacific downtown Atlanta for 6 weeks, took the train every day. Atlanta only has, north, south, east, and west, a very small train system. So fortunately, we were on the train line and I was able to catch the MARTA from where we lived to downtown, get off at 5 Points, walk down to, no, I didn't get off at 5 Points. I forget where I got off at, but I know I walked a little bit to get to work every day. And I was like, oh, I'm so grown and I'm such an adult and I'm so responsible. I can't wait to get this, the stipend is what they called it at the end of 6 weeks. The stipend was $800, y'all. And at 16, not a lot of money growing up, just now finally getting into a nice place for the first time. At $800 was a very, very, very big deal. And I was greatly looking forward to it. So I would check the mail every day. Didn't come. I was like, huh, because this was 96, right? 1996. So wasn't direct deposited. I probably didn't have an account myself at the time. I was gonna go to currency exchange and cash my check. Had a whole plan. So go to 5 Points, buy me some clothes, buy me I was into wearing cowrie shells and incense and all that was my plan. And I kept checking and it never came. And then finally, this might have been a couple of weeks, so it was a while after. I kept asking about it because, of course, I'm like, this $800, I'm not just going to not ask about it. And finally, she said, I used the money and I deposited into my account to pay rent. Now, I forget what the rent was at the time at that apartment. And I believe we were in Ascot Glen at that time. I forget what the rent was. I want to say it was like $1,200 or something like that. So not a lot, but for 96, maybe that was on the upper end for rent. She said I used it to pay rent. And I was enraged. Me and my mother have never fallen out. But there have been a couple of times where, yeah, I really was, bringing that smoke in her direction. And that was one of them. The other time was when I won't talk about that story yet. I have to get permission from the people involved. I've been watching Queen Sugar, and Nova released her book, and she told everybody business, and they were pissed off at her. So I don't want that to happen to me. I don't think everyone is as free as I am with telling, talking about the past. But nevertheless, it was 2 times when I was really pissed off at my mom, and this was one of those times because I was just like, wow. Why didn't you say anything? You saw me looking for this money every day. You heard me asking about it. And she gave me this look, and it was a look of what was this look? Despair, desperation, maybe. It was something. I want to say it was probably desperation, and kind of like begging me almost not to make a thing out of it, not to go there. And so I didn't. We never talked about it again. I never forgot, of course, because that was my first, for me, it's like my first real, job that wasn't like a bullshit fast food job. I worked at McDonald's, Burger King, Hardee's, Shoney's, Piccadilly, IHOP, the Solo Cup factory in Urbana, Illinois. Very ghetto, do not recommend. I worked at FedEx in Urbana, in Champaign for a little while. I lasted like a week there, moving boxes because I was just like, I am clearly not about this life. So I had a lot of terrible jobs. So I consider my internship at Georgia Pacific like my first, a big deal kind of thing, right? And so I asked her when she told me that she used it to pay rent, and I saw the look on her face, and I never, we never talked about it again. And of course, I never got it back. The only other time I saw that look was so this was when I was 16. So I remember I was about 10, and I wanted my hair straight. I wanted a relaxer so bad. And I would just go on and on about how I just want to get me a perm. And I remembered clear as day, we were in, gosh, it wasn't Walmart. I want to say it was Ventures, right? The store with the black and white. So I know some of y'all know what the hell I'm talking about, but I know some of y'all do, right? So I'm 41, grew up in the south suburbs of Chicago, Chicago Heights to be exact. And so Ventures was the store I remember. And this perm might have been, y'all, like $3 a box. And I remember I had been asking and asking and asking. And so, I used to sneak stuff back in the cart back in the day. So I snuck it in the cart. We get to the checkout line. My mother's about to pay for the stuff. She sees the perm, and she's giving me this look, and she's like, "What's this?" I was like, "Well, I don't know why I can't just get it. It's only $3. I don't understand why you don't have $3." Like, this is what I said at 10 years old. Like, clearly a very smart mouth child. But I was just over the fact of never, like, I felt like I was never getting anything that I wanted. And of course, I made it all about me, whatever. And y'all, she couldn't afford it. She couldn't afford it. And so I saw that same look that day that I saw when I was 16, about 6 years later. So I just told her that she could put it back. I was like, "It's okay, Mom, you can put it back." And we never talked about that again. And so I am telling you all this story because, well, my mother worked really, really, really hard. But how many of you know that hard work is not the great equalizer that we like to think that it is? I know a lot of folks who work really hard. I've been one of them for a very, very long time, and they can't make ends meet. It's possible in this country to work 40 hours a week, 52 weeks out of the year, and never accumulate more than like $500, depending upon where you work. Um, there's folks who, don't have a place to live and they have jobs, but because they can't come up with enough money to pay for a deposit plus rent and don't have bad credit, then the deposit is doubled, right? Or the deposit is tripled. So there's folks who work 40 hours a week, every single week for years and can't come up with enough money, to put down for a deposit to get an apartment. And so I'm very cognizant of what that feels like. And I do know that my mother didn't have my mother didn't have the opportunities that we have now. My mother couldn't take out her phone, right, and do, various side hustles. She couldn't do an inspection with We Go Look. She couldn't do a quick property inspection. She couldn't do mystery shops. She for sure couldn't do FEMA inspection. She didn't have the flexibility to do that. She couldn't, sign up with the company and be an affiliate and get paid from doing that. So all those things weren't an option for her. But they are an option for us in this economy, right? In 2021. Like, this is literally the best time um, to go after this next level of freedom. People like Dave Ramsey and Susie Orman will have you thinking that the reason why you're not rich is because you go to Starbucks every day. And if you took that money and put it into 401k and compounded it at 8% a year over 20 years, this adds up to like so many thousands, tens of thousands, or hundreds of thousands of dollars. I'm just like, okay. Like, I don't believe in taking every scrap of joy from your existence, right? All in the name of fighting the good fight for financial freedom. Because sometimes if we just keep it all the way 100, that's just not it. That's not the problem is not that you are a spendthrift or you go to Starbucks or you buy a pack of, gum every day. Like, that's not the problem. The problem sometimes that you just need to fight on the income side. You need to bring in more money, period. Somebody type, bring in more money, right? That's what you need to do. And I went through this same, not to the extent that my mom did. I've never struggled quite to that extent, but definitely had, a lot of hard times. I mean, I had the foreclosure, I had the short sale, had a bankruptcy. I've talked about all those things. And so I definitely went through it. And I'm telling you, the reason why I was able to transition and get this business, right, scale the preservation business, scale the online consulting business is because of the things that I did in the early years, which happened to be side hustles, which happened to be included as a part of Side Hustle Heavy. Like that is legitimately the truth. So I did property inspections, I did insurance inspections, I did um, auto inspections, I did FEMA inspections, I did broker price opinions, I did all these different things. Some obviously paid a lot more than others, but they all worked together to allow me to create a full-time income and build my confidence to the point where I was like, oh, now I get it. Now I can kind of see this path to entrepreneurship, because before I was struggling in corporate, right? Didn't like that, tried to go back, couldn't get a job, and I was struggling as an entrepreneur. So then I was like, well, what the hell am I supposed to do? Like, you can't be bad at both of these things, Danielle. Like, you got to pick a team, right? So that is my reality. That's been my story. That was my reality. And Thomas and I, my partner, we were just like, we should really put this out into the universe, because Side Hustle Heavy is an excellent transitional, it's a bridge between those who want to jump into entrepreneurship, but not today, right? They're not quite ready just yet, or those who want to create an extra $1,000 somewhere every single month and they don't want a job. Like, this is something that you should be able, be willing to check out. So you get access to the ebook, you get over 30 plus legitimate side hustles, a monthly detailed training, which I'll be doing in the Facebook group, and of course the Facebook community, which I'm expecting to be really, really transformative, very similar to our property preservation mastery program. Community is where all the magic happens. So to register for that, all you have to do is visit sidehustleheavy.com. Again, just check out sidehustleheavy.com. I'll be here tomorrow night and every other night through February 28th, 7 o'clock Central Standard Time, after which all the pricing for this is going to triple. And then you guys are going to miss out on an incredible offer. We stand by everything we put out 1,000%. Right, 1,001%. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and listening to my story. And if for any of you who are wondering, I have to say this because sometimes people be making sly comments or whatever. I have no animosity whatsoever towards my mother. I think she is an incredible woman. I think she is the strongest person I've ever met. I think she did the very best she could with what she had. And I think that I am the continuation of her journey. I think I have picked up the baton that she dropped, and I have nothing but the utmost respect for her. So I have no animosity at all. It's just water under a bridge. I was pissed off when I was 16. I was pissed off then. I ain't gonna lie to you. I remember thinking to myself, man, I hate this house, hate this family, I hate this neighborhood. I want to go back to the Heights. I hate Atlanta. I hate the school. I hate my job. Like, I went down to about 71 things that I hated. However, you live, you learn, you grow older, and all as well, right? So thank you guys again so much for tuning in. Please be sure to like, subscribe, share the video. Looking forward to seeing you inside of our community, Side Hustle Heavy. And again, just visit sidehustleheavy.com to get more information. All right. As always, sending you love, light, peace, blessings, grace, and clarity. Until tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. Bye-bye.